Welcome to Cloudality's RCA educational series. In this video, we'll explore context definitions in Salesforce Revenue Cloud Advanced and see how our customer MedaForge uses them to ensure efficient data access. In Salesforce Revenue Cloud Advanced, we can either create a new context definition or extend an existing one. From Setup, let's open a context definition, Pricing Transaction CD, which extends the standard sales transaction context. And Bill to Contact is mapped to quote Bill to Contact ID. By extending, all the standard nodes, attributes, and mappings are inherited automatically, and only the business-specific elements are added. This makes it easier to stay aligned with Salesforce best practices while still tailoring the context to MedaForge's unique needs. Next, we configure the structure of our context definition. Here you can see different nodes like Sales Transaction, Sales Transaction Action, Sales Transaction Recipient, Sales Transaction Item, and Sales Transaction Adjustment Group. A node represents a logical grouping of related data within a transaction. For example, Sales Transaction is the parent, and Sales Transaction Item represents the individual items under that transaction. This hierarchy of nodes defines how data flows between related objects. Once nodes are in place, we move to attributes. Each node can have multiple attributes, things like pricing date, transaction type, etc. Attributes are fields or properties of a node. For example, at Sales Transaction, an attribute might be transaction type. At Sales Transaction Item, an attribute could be effective date. You can also decide if the attribute is input, output, or both, and specify its data type, string, number, currency, or date time. Finally, we add attribute tags. Tags provide a way to give shortened, user-friendly names to nodes and attributes so that applications can consume them more easily. For example, Sales Transaction Source to tag Sales Transaction Source, Account to tag Account, Quote Account to tag Quote Account. In practice, tags act like an alias. They make it simpler for integrations, pricing rules, or external applications to reference data. Now let's see context mapping. Context mapping is the process of linking nodes and attributes from our context definition to actual Salesforce objects and fields. This step is what makes the context usable. It tells Salesforce where the data comes from and where it goes. On this screen, we see different mappings like Quote Entities Mapping, Order Entities Mapping, Contract Node Mapping, and so on. Each mapping shows how many attributes are already mapped, how many are still unmapped, and what the mapping source is. To view or edit one of these, we click the drop-down and select Edit S-Object Mapping. Click on Map. Here's the detailed mapping page. On the left, we have our context definition structure. For example, the Sales Transaction node with its attributes like Account, Opportunity, Quote Account, etc. On the right, we see the Salesforce objects these attributes connect to. In this case, objects like Quote or App Usage Assignment. Each line represents a mapping from a context attribute to a Salesforce field. For example, Sales Transaction Account is mapped to Quote Account ID, and Bill to Contact is mapped to Quote Bill to Contact ID. Because the mapping ensures efficient access of data, the context knows exactly which Salesforce fields to pull from or write to, keeping transactions accurate and consistent across the system. This demonstrates how context definitions ensure efficient access to Salesforce data, keeping transactions accurate, consistent, and easy to manage. In our next video, we'll explore decision tables in Salesforce Revenue Cloud Advanced, showing how MedaForge automates pricing with complex business rules. Stay tuned to see how MedaForge simplifies pricing with decision tables. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, feel free to reach out to us at team@cloudality.com.